Welcome to the Horn of Africa, Somalia. Somalia, or officially known as the Federal Republic of Somalia. Its capital is Mogadishu, under the form of Federal Republic government, approximately 15.44 million total of population. Their nationality is Somali. They have four major known languages, which are Somali, Arabic, Italian, and English. Their religion is Sunni Muslim. Their currency is called Somali shilling. East Africa time zone. Their climate varies to tropical but not torrid climate. The plateau region is the cooler, the southwest is the warmer. Their current president is Mohamed Abdullahi Mohamed or Far Maho. Somalia is located on the Horn of Africa, and yes, it is geographically shaped like a horn. Influences from both African and Arabia are prevalent. There were several different Somali empires during the Middle Ages that had a large impact on trade. Due to Somalia's importance, location between Africa and Arabia, these empires included the Sultanate of Adal, the Warsanghali Sultanate, and the Gubran dynasty. In the 1800s, the British and the Italians arrived. They established British Somaliland and Italian Somaliland. The dervishes under Muhammad Abdullah Hassan fought off the British from the interior of Somalia for years until they were defeated in the year 1920. The area was mostly controlled by Italy until after World War I, when the British took over the entire area. In the year 1960, the independent nation of Somalia was formed. In the year 1991, the Somali Civil War broke out. Since that time, the country has been in anarchy with no real central government. Somalia has a few light major industries, which includes sugar refining, textiles, and wireless communications. When it comes to their major agricultural products, they have bananas, sorghum, corn, coconuts, rice, sugarcane, mangoes, sesame seeds, beans, cattle, sheep, goats, and fish. When it comes to their major natural resources, they have uranium and largely unexploited reserves of iron ore, tin, gypsum, bauxite, copper, salt, natural gas, and likely oil reserves. Their major exports are livestock, bananas, hides, fish, charcoal, and scrap metal. Their major imports are manufactures, petroleum products, foodstuffs, and construction materials. Their national gross domestic product is approximately at $4,942,000. Isa or Gadabursi are the major clans in Somalia, which most Somali people belongs. They recognize each other by referring to one's clan or family, but it is not required of them to carry a family name or surname. However, they all share one common faith, which is Islam of the Sunni sect. Although Djibouti, Somaliland, or Somalia all have coastlines, Somalis are inherently herdsmen and nomadic people who are constantly on the move in search of resources. The nomads live in portable huts that they can transport on camels when needed. The majority of Somali people agree that the camel, which has for centuries embodied the most important source of income, meat and milk to nomadic people. Somalis is the emblem of the ethnic group, bringing wealth, salt and gold, trade to the different clans. Even Somali social status used to be determined according to one's herd of camels. In rural areas, this is still an important aspect of Somali until as of today in their culture. The The tourism in Somalia is regulated by the federal government of Somalia's Ministry of Tourism. After the start of civil war in the early 1990s, the tourism ministry shut down the operations and then re-established in the year 2000 and once again oversees the national tourism industry. In the pre-independence period, European explorers would occasionally travel to Somalia and other parts of the Horn of Africa to visit historical sites. Following Somalia's independence in the year 1960, the Ministry of Tourism was established in order to regulate the national tourist industry. In the year 1969, the Law of Fauna, Hunting, and Forest Conservation was passed, which defined and provided for the establishments of controlled areas, game reserves, and partial game reserves. It was later amended in the year 1978. After all the happenings in Somali, armed forces evicted Al-Shabaab militants from Mogadishu in the mid-2011. The capital gradually started to experience a renaissance. Local businessmen and returning Somali expatriates built and opened a number of new hotels and guest houses, mainly catering to other Somalis as well as some Westerns. Newly constructed beachside resorts are also accommodated the first tourist families in many years. Laas Hill is by far the best known and most popular landmark in Somalia, a series of caves in Somaliland that display hundreds of ancient Neolithic paintings. The rock art in these caves is arguably some of the best preserved anywhere in the world, dating back to 9000 BC, and travelers who are able to visit the site are privileged. Unfortunately, the site is not recognized as a UNESCO World Heritage Site because Somaliland is not recognized as an independent state by the international community. But make no mistake though, Laas Hill certainly fits the UNESCO criteria. Visitors to the site must be accompanied by a guide whether they like it or not. One of the most popular parks is Kismayo National Park in the southwest region. Kismayo is one of the only parks which is home to many animals that are native to the East African region, like the Somali sheep and the Somali wild ass. There are many opportunities for outdoor adventures, including wildlife safari, to observe such African game as lions, leopards, zebras, wild boars, and antelopes. Located in the heart of Mogadishu, Shanghai Old City is one of the most popular landmarks in the city and is best known for its interesting and unique Chinese architecture. This is relatively wealthy area has been controlled by warlords at different periods during the Civil War. Shanghai Old City is perhaps the most beautiful part of the city and, when not entangled and in struggle for power, it is well worth for a visit. Independence Day. June 26 marks National Independence Day of Somalia and more than 2 decades without Italian rule. In 2012, violence ceased long enough for residents to finally celebrate their freedom from colonial rule. Many have criticized this day, however, as true freedom from violence and oppression has not yet been achieved. Nirosh, held annually in July, Nirosh or Dabshid, as it is alternatively known, celebrates the beginning of the solar year in Somalia and Somaliland. While Somalis are Muslim and abide by the lunar calendar, they also use the solar calendar to make decisions about religious days, harvest times, and so forth. The festival is known as the Festival of Fire internationally as locals build huge bonfires, splash water on each other, and dance to welcome the arrival of summer. This is one of the most jovial festivals on the calendar and should not be missed. Eid al-Fitr, or known as End of Ramadan, every year in August, the Islamic population of Somaliland, Puntland, and Greater Somalia celebrate Eid al-Fitr. This religious holiday marks of the end of Ramadan, the holy month during which those of the Islamic faith fast. This day really is a celebration of everyone's effort and sacrifices. The day is marked with ceremonies in mosques around the region, the gathering of friends and families to enjoy great feasts, and perhaps the most special activity for some, the purchasing of new outfits to wear on the day. Eid al-Adha, Feast of the Sacrifice. October marks the arrival an important day on the Islamic calendar, also known as the Tabaski in other North African countries. The holiday lasts for 2 to 3 days and is held to commemorate the willingness of Ibrahim to sacrifice his firstborn son to the Lord. In accordance with the story, locals slaughter a sheep, thus performing the same act as Ibrahim. The sheep is then cooked and used as a basis for a feast among family and friends. Day of Ashura. Rounding off the religious calendar in November is the Day of Ashura, a day of mourning for the grandson of Prophet Muhammad who died at the Battle of Karbala. The day is commemorated by both Shia and Sunni Muslims and is a public holiday in Somalia, during which time Muslim communities came out into the streets in their thousands to show their mourning. It is an interesting religious festival to witness or partake in.